Hi everyone, this is your yoga practice for the digestive system. We'll be going through 3 postures today and ending with a very brief shavasana with meditation. This is the same meditation that's included for this week, just tacked on to the end of your practice so you can practice them in a row or separately. So we'll get started. Go ahead and find your comfortable position. Cross legs if it is okay for you to do today. If you'd like, we can always sit onto a block or a blanket, helping to elevate the hips. So allow for a larger angle in the hip joints in relation to the torso, and it might feel a little more comfortable in your low back or your hamstrings if you do have a difficulty sitting up straight. Start to be aware of the breath at the navel. The point just above the belly button. As you inhale, allow the navel to expand forwards. And as you exhale, draw the navel back in towards the spine. Inhale to expand the navel forwards. Exhale to release it back. We'll do this a couple more times on your own speed and length of breath. And if you'd like, notice the qualities of the breath that are present in this moment. Whatever you've done today so far, what has led to this type of breath? Is it smooth? Is it jagged? Could it be longer? If it could, take both halves of the breath longer, but with ease. Make sure we're not forcing or gasping after the breath. If you'd like, setting an intention for our practice today, perhaps coinciding with this theme of digestion. Digestion does not always deal with food, but also experiences. Being able to process, digest, assimilate, and move forwards. And from here, we'll start our physical practice. Go ahead and make your way off of the block or blanket if that is where you are seated. And we'll move on to our back. So if this is not the most comfortable position for you, you might find a squishier something to sit on, whether it's a pillow on your mat or a blanket on your mat. This one is easy enough. You can even do it lying in bed. So go ahead and release all the way back. Hug your knees into your chest. And this is where we will stay for now. Allow the hands to rest on the front of the knees or the shins. And just observe if there is any compression from the legs into the navel or navel into the legs. Aware of if the breath changes at this point, and if you'd like, we can rock a little bit from side to side, massaging the spaces on either side of the spine, around the pelvis, around the shoulder blades. And even if this pose seems extra simple to you, notice your relationship to stillness or just being in a pose that could be easy. It doesn't have to be physically challenging. It might actually be mentally challenging to stay in one place. Keep your thoughts within your practice. Give them somewhere safe to land, like the movement of your breath, or perhaps returning to your intention. Aware of the movement in the navel that we found at the very beginning. And from here, we'll come into a reclined twist. If it's comfortable, we can take the arms straight out to the side or bring them into a goalpost shape. releasing the knees to one side. This might become uncomfortable if it feels like the hips are really far away from the center of the chest. They could be too far off to the edge of your mat. We can always come back to the middle, move the hips in the opposite direction, and then re-release the legs to that side. This could still be a little too much. We can take our block, our blanket, you can take a stack of books, a pillow, whatever you have, and you can let the legs land onto a support. And perhaps, especially if you have some low back difficulties today or in this moment, you can take something between your knees, like a pillow or a block. Finding your comfortable twist. It might not look like mine. We can always take something under the feet as well, so we don't feel like the feet are falling low or the knees are to the ground and the feet are elevated. Take time to make yourself into a comfortable shape. And find the breath again at the navel, breathing into the twist instead of avoiding it. If we have to avoid it because there's discomfort, adjust your props so that we can be comfortable. After your next exhale, press your arm into the floor to help take the knees back up. And we'll switch to the other side, moving your props as you need. And from one side to the next, we might actually need a different setup. So take time to figure out what you need for this side, releasing the legs in the opposite direction. Bring your awareness back to the breath at the center of the navel that we found in the beginning and on the other side. Taking the legs back up, we'll come into our final pose before our brief Shavasana. We'll come into a reclined butterfly pose. So we'll take the soles of the feet together with the pinky toe edges of the feet on the floor. This is going to help give space to the front of the abdomen. And just like our twist, if it's not comfortable to let the legs relax, and they will not touch the floor, don't you worry, we can take blocks, books, blankets, or pillows underneath the knees at any height. If this becomes too intense or on the first setting of the block, feel free to ease up. Don't let your practice inhibit you from keeping your relaxed focus. We can take the arms down at the sides, T-shape, or again into our goalpost shape if you'd prefer. Breathing again at navel center. Feel the rise and the fall of the belly. Now, after your next exhale, go ahead and take the hands to the outside of the legs. Remove the blocks, or you might want them. And this meditation can be done seated, or it can be done lying on your back. So your choice, coming into a seat like we had in the beginning, or perhaps taking a rolled up blanket, a pillow, your blocks. Books can get a little hard, so you might want to lay a blanket over the books if that is what you have been using to prop so far. So finding your comfortable position to relax. Legs can be straight if the hamstrings or the low back are a little finicky today. Again, you can plant your feet to the floor and let the knees knock in, widening the back of the pelvis, giving the SI joints a little bit more space. Find your comfortable position to rest, lying down or seated. Take care to stay awake if you are lying down. Normally, when we breathe, we think of the expansion from the center of the navel moving out. With your next inhale, we'll reverse our usual breath. Imagine the inhale drawing in to the point at the center of the navel, like we're taking in through the fingertips, through toes, into center of the abdomen. And as you exhale, leave the breath and energy here. Exhale, feel all of the energy assimilate into this point in the center of the navel. Inhale, draw energy, breath, light into the center of the navel. Exhale, keep it in the body. Disperse this energy out into the tissues, into the organs, into whole body. Inhale from the outside in. Feel this awareness concentrated at navel center. If you'd like, add a little pause after the inhale. Let it stir up the fire. And then exhale this energetic fire into the rest of the body. Continuing to breathe in this fashion. If this seems a little bit complicated or I've already lost you, feel free to come back to the breath at the navel instead. Allow your mind to rest with the movement of the breath and perhaps physical movement at the center of the abdomen. Come back to the intention you had set at the beginning of your practice, repeating it a couple times in the mind while both body and mind are calm and relaxed. Expand the breath back out into the limbs. Start to move fingers and toes, hands and feet. Bend the elbows. We'll return to our first pose. Walk the feet back, hug the knees into the chest. Carefully rolling on to one side, taking a breath here. Bottom arm can make a pillow for the head. Coming back up into a tall seat. Return onto your block or blanket, whatever position was most comfortable for you in the beginning. Sitting tall, return back to the breath at the navel. Taking this practice with you into the rest of your day. Come back to any of these poses, any of these types of breathing, whenever you need them. Namaste.